So today's topic is Hadoop installation on Linux based OS that can be macOS or Red Hat or Ubuntu. The steps for installation of Hadoop is the same on all the Linux based operating system. For our learning purpose, we'll be doing all the things practically on Ubuntu. But in case you need to install Hadoop on any other Linux based OS, the same steps can be used for that. So we'll be starting the class with the agenda. The agenda for today's class is install Java and SSH on Ubuntu, download Hadoop tar.gz file, untar the Hadoop tar.gz file, directory structure of Hadoop, what is SSH, that is a secure shell, how to configure passwordless SSH, configuration files in Hadoop, modify configuration files, format name node, start Hadoop services, verify Hadoop services, and stop Hadoop services. This is the agenda, and we'll be covering this agenda in 2 days. The first half will be covering today, and the second half will be covering in tomorrow's class. Since we are in the initial stage of training, we are going little slow so that you can follow the things on daily basis. Once our Hadoop will be installed, then we will pick up the speed, and then we can cover more topics every day. So let's start with the first one, that is install Java and SSH on Ubuntu. The day before yesterday, when we were conducting the demo class, we talked about the prerequisite. The very first prerequisite was Linux based operating system, which we have already done yesterday. Second thing was Java. We need Java to be installed on our system. That means on our Ubuntu. So on Windows, installing of any software, usually we go to Google, we download the exe file, we double click on that, and we click on next, 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 and finish. That is the simplest way to install any software on Windows. But Linux based OS, mostly all the softwares are installed through commands. You no need to search for anything on Google, no need to download any file. Simply execute some commands, and those commands are, you can say, capable of downloading the required software from internet and finally installing it on your system. So before we execute any command, I will give you a brief idea about terminal. So you can click on the dash home button and start typing terminal. You can see that terminal, this black window is appearing. You can click on that. It's similar to command prompt on Windows. Command prompt is very software which usually we don't use that. Only technical guys, only networking guys use that command prompt. But if I talk about terminal, terminal is such a important tool in Linux based OS which will be used every day. Another thing is that if you want something, do you need to search it for every day? You will close it today, tomorrow you will start your Ubuntu again, then you will again click on dash home, again start typing terminal. Do we need to do that every day? No, that's not required. Once you are opening any software, it will appear on the left side, and then you can lock it. Right click on that, and you can see this option, lock to launcher. As we talked yesterday, the left side, which is displaying many software icons from where we can launch any software, that is known as launcher. So you can open any software first time by searching it and then lock it to the launcher, so that even if you will close this, suppose I am closing this like this, the terminal icon will be still there. That means I don't need to search for that now. I can click on that and it will be opening like this. So you can see this, my terminal is open now, and basic commands I hope you are aware, otherwise I can show you. I can type pwd, that is present working directory. When we are opening the terminal, by default we are landing into our home directory. Every user has a home directory. In my case, my home directory is /home/Neeraj. Similarly, there are many more commands you can type. Who am I? Who am I? It will display your name, Neeraj. If you want to display the date and time, simply type date. You can see that. Thursday, July 6th, 7:18 IST 2017. These are the basic commands, and if you're not aware about this, what I can do is I have a small PDF. I think only one page PDF, 10 or 12 commands. I will share that PDF with all of you after today's class. You can just go through that. It would hardly take 10-15 minutes, not more than that. And you will be aware about basic Linux commands, which we will be using throughout our 1-month training program. So this was brief introduction for terminal. I'm coming back to PDF and we'll talk about Hadoop installation. Okay, so Java. So you can see the commands. The first command is sudo add apt repository ppa:/web update team/java. This command is basically telling that what is the repository from where we will be downloading that software. I mean, we are not downloading it manually, but ultimately behind the scene, your system will be downloading that software from some remote repository, some internet location. That's what we are specifying in the first command. Second is sudo apt get update. This will take the update of your softwares and your drivers on your system. And finally, apt get install Oracle Java 8-installer. As the name indicates, the third line will be downloading Java 8 from the given repository and finally installing it on the system. So these commands are properly tested and verified. You can simply copy them from PDF and paste them into your terminal. That's one-time activity. Another thing is when people are starting this training program, I usually get this issue that people are trying to copy the command from PDF from Windows. Actually, they are downloading the PDF on Windows, they copying the command from Windows and they're trying to paste into the terminal. That's not possible because those are two different operating systems. You cannot copy paste across operating system. So in that case, what you should do is you should download the PDF inside your Ubuntu. We have the Firefox installed already. Open that, download your PDF from email so that you can copy paste the things easily. So that is all about how to install Java. Second thing is installing of SSH. And what is that SSH? SSH is basically a tool which is used to communicate between the system. As you know, Hadoop is a master-slave architecture, master and slaves, and they need to communicate with each other. For that connectivity, we would need that SSH tool as well. We'll throw some more light on SSH in upcoming slide, but as of now, you can understand that we need to download and install SSH. That's also a prerequisite. So you can have a look at this command sudo apt get install open SSH server open SSH client. So you can copy this command from PDF and paste into the terminal. That will be installing SSH on your Ubuntu. And I have specified at the bottom of this slide that make sure that your Ubuntu is connected to internet during execution of these commands. Because when we execute these commands will be downloading the software first, then they will be installing. If there is no internet connectivity, these commands will fail and the required software will not be installed on your system. So let's move to the next slide. The next is download Hadoop tar.gz file. There are many versions of Hadoop because this is an open source. There are alpha release, beta release, stable release, non-stable release, many things are there. To make it easy for you so that you don't have to search for Hadoop here and there, what I have done is I have put my Hadoop software into my Google Drive, and once you will click on this link which I will be sharing with you, you can click on this link or maybe you can click on this icon it will be taking you directly to my Google Drive location, from where you can easily download the Hadoop tar.zz file. Tar.zz is nothing but a compression format. On Windows, the most common compression format is zip. We are uh, very well aware about zip files. Similarly, on Linux-based OS, zip is rarely used. Tar.zz is the most famous compression format for Linux-based OS. So once you will click on this link, you can download the Hadoop tar.zz file on your system. After that, we need to uncompress that. We need to extract the content of tar file. So it's quite easy, and for your convenience, I have even taken a screenshot. What you will do is you will double click on your tar file, Hadoop -1.2.1.tar.zz, which you will download from Google Drive. You will double click on that. So a window will appear which will show you what is there inside your tar. You can see that this window is displaying that inside the tar there is a directory, Hadoop -1.2.1. Okay, that's fine. So we will extract that directory. You will select that and click on extract. Once you will click on extract, one more window will appear which will ask you the destination, where exactly you want to extract it. So there is no hard and fast rule. Wherever you want. You want to extract it inside your downloads directory, that's fine. You want to do it on your home directory, you want to do it on your desktop, you can do it anywhere. But where exactly I have done on my system, I will show you that. You can see in this screenshot, I am showing local_cluster_home. Usually when people are following the PDF, they are sending me an email or they are asking the doubts that they did not find local_cluster_home on their system. And that's true. You will not find it because that's a folder which I have created on my Ubuntu for my purpose. What I want is I want to keep my Hadoop related stuff together in a separate directory. I don't want to put it on home directory or downloads or anywhere. I want to put it in a separate directory. So let me show you. Inside my home directory, you will see local_cluster_home. So this is a directory, and you no need to give the exactly same name. You can give any name. It's up to you. I have given this name because first of all we are installing Hadoop locally, because my local system is working as a master as well as slave, and I have given the name local cluster home because this directory is actually the home of all of my big data technology. You can see that I have Hadoop is there, Hadoop 1 is there, Hadoop 2 is there, HBase is there, and Hive is there. This is Hive, this is Pig, and many more stuff. So all the big data related stuff I have put inside this directory. So my point is, don't get confused with the name. Either you can extract it anywhere, wherever you want, or if you also want a separate directory, create a directory with any name and extract it inside that. That's what I have done. While extracting, I have given this path, local_cluster_home, and finally you will be clicking on extract. Within few seconds, the content of a tar file will be extracted inside the specified destination. So if I will show you, in my system, a Hadoop 1.2.1 is extracted here, this one. If I will open this, you can see that there are many of directories and files, bin, C++, conf, contrib, docs, sbin, logs, and many more stuff are there. Do we need to know about all these things? Because when we install any software on Windows, suppose you are installing Skype. When you install Skype, when you click on next, next, and finish, behind the scene, all the required files are stored inside C drive. Some program files inside that Skype folder, inside that something. But do we ever go to that directory? No, we don't need that. You can simply double click on Skype icon, it will open. And behind the scene, the Skype software will be using those files and those things which are stored somewhere in C drive. But Hadoop installation is not that much simple. It's not like that you don't know about anything about this directory. You should know about this. This is mandatory because we have to manually make some changes in some configuration file. So we should be aware about what are the files and directories are available here. We may not be knowing about everything, but few important directories we should know about, because those will be used every day, and at least as far as Hadoop installation is concerned, those directories are very important. So let's come back to PDF, and we'll be talking about the directory structure of Hadoop. So we have directory structure of Hadoop. As I told you, there are many things, but we will be talking about the few important things. The first one is bin directory. On Windows, there is a concept of executable file, exe file. But on Linux, there is no exe file. Usually, there are binary files. So all the binary files are available inside bin directory. All the activities starting from Hadoop installation, starting of Hadoop, stopping of Hadoop, loading the data, removing the data, processing the data, generating the reports, all these things we have to do through commands. There is no UI. It's not like that you will open a software and there would be a beautiful button, start Hadoop or stop Hadoop. You will click on the buttons and it will start or stop. Unfortunately, it's not like that. Each and everything whatever you do on Hadoop, starting from Hadoop installation, you have to do it through commands only. And those commands are actually available inside bin directory. As you can see, it contains the scripts, or you can say commands, to start or stop Hadoop. Once we will actually start and stop, you will be more clear on that. But as of now, you can understand that bin directory contains all the commands. Second and the most important directory is conf. As the name indicates, it contains configuration files. And as I told you, that Hadoop installation is not that much easy like Windows. We have to manually make some changes in some configuration files. Let me show you. I will show you the conf directory. So conf, third one, this one, conf directory. Inside this you will see there are many files, but we don't need to modify all the files. Out of this file, I think 4 files we have to modify. What are those 4 files? We'll be exploring in more detail in upcoming slides. What is the file, what's the purpose of that file, and what changes we need to make in that particular file. But as of now, just understand that conf directory contains configuration file, out of which few configuration file we need to modify. Okay, so coming back to PDF, the next is lib directory. As the name indicates, lib directory contains libraries, or I would say jar files. As a user, we don't have to do anything with the jar, but behind the scene, your Hadoop will be using all those jars. Your jobs are running, you are loading some data, you are generating some reports. Behind the scene, all the jars will be used. I can even show you that. We'll go to lib directory, lib, and you can see there are many jars are available. You can see that. You can see now. So these jars are available inside the lib directory of Hadoop and will be used internally by Hadoop. The next we have is SRC. SRC stands for source code. Do we really need source code? Suppose I am installing WhatsApp on my mobile phone. I can go to Play Store, I can install it. Do I really need source code for that? I don't need that. Similarly, if you want to use Hadoop, download it from Apache website, install it and use it. We don't need source code for that. But the tar file which we downloaded, that comes along with source code. So 99% of time we never need to go into that directory. But if someone says that I am from Java background and I want to see what Apache team has written, the developer of Apache team, what exactly they have written in the Java programs. If that is the case, you are most welcome. You can go to source directory. You will find thousands of big Java programs. You can have a look. Otherwise, as I told you, 99% of time we never need to go into source directory. And finally, the last one, but not the least, is logs directory. As the name indicates, it contains the log files, and which are quite helpful. Suppose you are starting your Hadoop and it's not getting started. But how do you know what exactly the issue is? And without knowing the issue, how would you fix that? So the scenario in which your things are not moving in the right direction, logs files are quite helpful. Go to the logs directory, you will find the log file, open it and try to understand the error message or exception or something. Maybe the error message is unable to locate Java on your system. Java is the very first thing your Hadoop would need. And in case it will not find Java, it will not start. So by looking at the log file, you will at least understand what the issue is. And then you can fix it. And then you can try starting your Hadoop again. Logs directory is usually does not exist in the beginning. The tar file you will extract that does not have the logs directory. The first time you will start your Hadoop, logs directory will be automatically created and inside that you will find the log files. So friends, this is all about the directory structure of Hadoop. The next is configuration files in Hadoop. As we talked in previous slide, that conf directory is the most important directory because that contains the configuration files and which we need to modify. So before modifying, let's try to understand the concept of configuration file. So there are two types of configuration files. One is read only and another one is site specific file which can be modified. If you remember yesterday's class, I was telling you that Hadoop maintains duplicate copies of data for better availability. In case few systems are down, we don't want to fail our job. We still want that our job should be completed, and that's possible only if we are maintaining duplicate copies of data. So by default, Hadoop maintains 3 copies. But you may not be happy with 3. You may be saying that I don't have much free space available and please make only 2 copies. That's fine. Or you may say that my project is quite critical and please maintain at least 5 copies. We can even do that. So now there are two things. First thing is default value. Second thing is user defined value. So for default things, we have default files, as you can see. For user specific things, there are other files. So inside the source directory, there is a core directory. Inside core, there is a core default.xml. As the name indicates, core default. It contains core default setting, the basic setting of Hadoop with default values. Similarly, we have HDFS default. As the name indicates, it contains the default setting for HDFS part, the storage part of Hadoop. And similarly, MapReduce default.xml, which contains the default settings for the MapReduce part, the processing part of Hadoop. So we have some basic setting, we have storage specific setting, and we have processing specific setting. So we have 3 default files. And corresponding to these 3 default files, we have 3 site files. You can see that. Corresponding to core default, we have core site. Corresponding to HDFS default, we have HDFS site. And corresponding to MapReduce default, we have MapReduce site. Default files are available inside source directory, and site file which we need to modify are available inside conf directory. I can show you both for your better understanding. I can go to my source directory, source, and core or HDFS. You can go and HDFS. You will find this HDFS default.xml. This file contains the default setting for storage part of Hadoop. Corresponding file, I will go to conf directory and I will show you HDFS site. It's there, HDFS site.xml. So you no need to worry about the default files. As I told you, we never need to go into source directory. Neither we can modify them. Those are read-only files. The file which we will modify are available inside conf directory. And what are the modifications required, we'll be talking about in upcoming slides. Okay, so this is the concept of configuration file, default file, and site specific files. So let's move to the next slide. The next is what is SSH. On very first slide, we talked about how to install SSH, right? And I also told you that this is a prerequisite. So SSH is a tool, it's a utility which is used to remotely connect to other machine. As you know, Hadoop is a master slave architecture, and as a master it is giving the instruction to slave machine. Suppose you are requesting for storing of a big file, 2 terabyte file. So Hadoop will give instruction to slave machines to get the things done. So the point here is that name node, name node is a master service of storage. Name node uses SSH for communicating with the data nodes. Name node and a data node are the services which are taking care of your storage part of Hadoop, and they are interacting with each other. For that interaction, for that communication, we need this SSH. Similarly, another two services, job tracker and task tracker, are also communicating with each other, because you are submitting a job to master. So job tracker will accept that job, and then job tracker will distribute that job among multiple task trackers. So even for job tracker and task tracker communication, we again need SSH. And the interesting part is that whether you install Hadoop on single machine or you install Hadoop multiple systems, in both the scenario we would need SSH. It's not like that now currently my system is working as a master as well as slave, so in that case I don't need SSH. It's not like that, because whether your master and slave services are running on the same system, or your master services are running on a separate system and slave services are running on a separate system, in both the scenario we would need SSH for their communication. And how to use SSH? It's quite easy. We will open the terminal, we will type SSH space IP address of another system. So as of now I don't have any other system. What I can do is I can try doing SSH to my own system. Just like we can try calling our own mobile number. We can do that, right? We can try sending mail from our email address to our email address. We can even do that. Same thing I will try now. I will do SSH from my system to my system. First of all, let me clear my screen. Yes. Now I will type SSH space 127.0.0.1. That's the IP of local system. It's applicable for everyone. Even you can try that. SSH space 127.0.0.1, and I will press enter now. You can see that. Welcome to Ubuntu 12.04, and there are many more things. You can see the last thing. Last login May 6th. This is telling me when exactly I did SSH to my system last time. It was on 6th May. What do you mean by connected? I mean, suppose I am typing SSH space IP address of Anurag's machine. So I will be connected to Anurag's system, right? But what does exactly that means? What do you mean by connected? We already are connected. Suppose there are 10 systems in a lab. They are already on the LAN. They are already connected. So what's the purpose of doing SSH? SSH gives you the flexibility that you can give some instruction to that system and it will follow that. That means if I am doing SSH space IP of Anurag's machine, I will be connected to Anurag's machine. And then if I will type any command, suppose I am typing a command for creating a directory. Although I will type the command on my system, but since I am connected to Anurag's machine, the directory will be created on Anurag's machine. That's the point. Now the thing is, if I can create a directory on your system, I can delete the data also. I can do SSH space your IP, I will be connected, I will delete your data. Is it possible? No, that's not possible. The reason being is that when you are doing SSH to any system, whether you are doing SSH to your own system or to someone else's system, it should ask for the password. If I will show you in the slides, you will understand that. You can see this. SSH space localhost, and it's asking for the password. Localhost is nothing but the, you can say, alternate for that 127.0.0.1. Let me show you. I can disconnect from there. Suppose you are connected to some system and you want to disconnect. Simply type exit. You can see that connection to 127.0.0.1 is closed. I can try again SSH localhost. This time I am not typing the IP, I am typing the name and enter. You can see that. Welcome to Ubuntu, and the last line, Last login Thursday, July 6, 7:47, just 2 minutes back. So 127.0.0.1 or localhost, both are the same thing. Both are pointing to your own personal laptop. Now the point is that when I am doing SSH localhost on my terminal, it's not bothering me for the password, right? It's simply saying welcome to Ubuntu. But when I am showing this thing on slide, you can see this. You are doing SSH space localhost, it's asking Neeraj @localhost password. Why that is the difference? By default, SSH is quite secure. Forget about connecting to someone else's system and deleting something. Forget about that. You can't even connect to your own system without password. Even if you will do SSH space localhost, you are connecting from your system to your system. Even in that scenario, you need to provide the password. Why it's not asking for password on my system? Because I have made SSH passwordless. And that's not optional, that's mandatory. You have to do that. The reason being is that in case you will not make it passwordless, what will happen is every few seconds your services will be interacting with each other. Name node will be interacting to data node will be interacting to name node. Similarly, job tracker will be interacting to task tracker, and task tracker will be interacting to job tracker. And every time they will interact, they will do SSH. And every time they will do SSH, they will bother you. Enter the password. And we can't do that. Every few seconds throughout the day, starting from morning till evening, I can't do that. I cannot keep on entering the password in the terminal. There must be some solution for that. That is known as passwordless SSH, which I have done on my system. That's why when I am doing SSH localhost, it's not bothering me for the password. It's directly saying welcome to Ubuntu. So this is all about what SSH is. I can type exit and I will be disconnected from localhost. I can clear my screen. So this will clear my screen. So friends, we are done for the day. That was the first half of Hadoop installation. The required PDF for Hadoop installation, that basic Linux commands PDF, and today's class recording I will be sharing shortly. The second half of Hadoop installation will be covering in tomorrow's class. So that's all for today. Thank you.